Thank you, Alex, for your kind words, but also for your extraordinary work as President and CEO of the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario. I have fond memories of the amazing team here, but we have seen through this pandemic that you and the incredible team at CHEO really stepped up, as health workers did right across the country, to be there for our most vulnerable, to protect the community, and to support kids in very, very real ways. Chrystia and I had the opportunity to chat with some of the kids who are both patients and at school here at CHEO, and it really is extraordinary to see how resilient kids are. Faced with challenges, faced with crises, but it's all the more important, therefore, that we be there for them in every possible way to give them the supports they need, not just to get through this pandemic, but also to recognize everything that they're going to be able to contribute to our communities, our country, and our world over the coming decades if we make sure that we're giving them all the right supports and all the best opportunities for the future. Je suis très content d'être ici aujourd'hui avec la vice-première ministre pour faire trois annonces importantes aujourd'hui. Les deux premières, je vais les faire et je vais passer la parole à Chrystia pour la troisième annonce, mais on a des bonnes nouvelles pour les Canadiens aujourd'hui. As people know, Canada has been a world leader on vaccinations, and that's just part of what Canadians were able to do through this pandemic, where we saw everyone from frontline health workers to community workers to individual Canadians stepping up during this pandemic to be there for each other, to do the right things to get us through this. And it has culminated, of course, in vaccinations, as Canada is now among the world leaders in vaccination rates amongst eligible Canadians, that is, 12 and older. The government also, all the orders of government have been there to support Canadians, particularly on the federal side, where we scrambled to deliver PPE. We've scrambled to ensure that we have vaccines for everyone, and we're also ensuring booster shots for the coming years as they become necessary, listening to the expert advice that folks in NACI and other fields are going to be making on how we move forward. But when we talk about the high vaccination rates of Canadians, 82, 85, 87% in various jurisdictions of Canadians fully vaccinated, it's always eligible Canadians. Because we know, particularly those of us who are parents, like I am, of kids under 12, that not everyone can get vaccinated yet. We have heard that Pfizer has now submitted for regulatory approval at Health Canada, a pediatric vaccine for kids 5 to 11. And this is great news. I can assure you that Health Canada is going to be examining attentively that submission. And even though I know parents are all going to be eager to get their kids vaccinated as quickly and as soon as possible, I want people to be patient because Health Canada is going to be taking the time necessary to ensure that, like all vaccines approved for use in Canada, vaccines approved for kids 5 to 11 will be fully safe and effective. It is extremely important that they go through all the full processes necessary so that every parent can have confidence when these vaccines do get approved that they will be safe for their children, to keep us all safe, to keep them safe, to keep our communities and schools safe as we move forward. And therefore, what I'm very pleased to be announcing today is that we have worked directly with Pfizer, and shortly after the time comes for Health Canada to approve those vaccines for pediatric use, we will receive millions of doses in Canada, enough to get all kids under between 5 and 11 vaccinated as quickly as possible. We will have the supply necessary to support every kid across the country from 5 to 11 with vaccinations as soon as possible after Health Canada approved it. C'est une bonne nouvelle aujourd'hui. Santé Canada, comme vous savez, est en train d'analyser les données et faire les processus rigoureux pour l'approbation du vaccin Pfizer pour les 5 à 11 ans. Et ils vont prendre le temps nécessaire pour s'assurer qu'il soit sécuritaire et efficace. Parce que tous les parents veulent que leurs enfants soient en sécurité, mais ils ne veulent pas prendre de risques non plus. Alors, vous pouvez savoir que si et quand Santé Canada va approuver l'utilisation du vaccin Pfizer pour les enfants, ça va être sécuritaire de le faire pour vos enfants. En même temps, je peux annoncer aujourd'hui qu'on a signé des ententes avec Pfizer pour que dès que ce soit approuvé pour utilisation au Canada, très peu après, nous allons recevoir assez de doses au Canada pour assurer la vaccination de tous les enfants au Canada de 5 à 11 ans. C'est une très bonne nouvelle pour tous les parents et tous les enfants à travers le pays parce que ça fait longtemps qu'on veut s'assurer que nos enfants aient la protection additionnelle que la vaccination leur donnera, comme plus que 80% des adultes au Canada ont déjà fait. Il y a quelques semaines, on a fait plusieurs promesses par rapport à nos priorités, par rapport à la vaccination, par rapport à la lutte contre la COVID. On a livré sur notre promesse d'assurer un mandat de vaccination obligatoire pour les trains et les avions, un mandat de vaccination obligatoire pour les travailleurs de la fonction publique. Et aujourd'hui, je suis content de pouvoir confirmer un troisième élément de cette promesse, c'est-à-dire la certification ou la preuve de vaccination uniforme pour les déplacements à l'international qui sera disponible à travers le pays. We made a commitment to ensure that there is a national standard for a proof of vaccination certificate that will be issued by every province and territory so that people can travel domestically but particularly internationally. And today I'm happy to confirm that all provinces and territories have confirmed that they will be moving forward with a standardized national proof of vaccination. As of today, so far we have Saskatchewan, Ontario, Quebec, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and all three provinces, all three territories, Nunavut, Northwest Territories, and Yukon, who already have put into use the national standard for proof of vaccination. You can download it onto your phone, you can print it out, you can ask for a copy by mail if you don't have those capacities, but you are now able to show proofs of vaccination immediately in all those provinces, and all other provinces have agreed and are working hard to come online so that as Canadians look to start traveling again, there will be a standardized proof of vaccination certificate that, as we said, we will be picking up the tab for at the federal level to ensure that all provinces are able to do it. And we'll also move forward on our other commitments we made around vaccinations and safety and COVID, which is moving forward on legislation to keep healthcare workers safe from intimidation and being hassled. So we can end this pandemic and get back to the things we love. It's a reminder as well, as we move forward on all these measures, for folks who still haven't yet gotten their full vaccinations, please get yourself vaccinated. It's the way we can all get back to the things we love, avoid further lockdowns, and make sure that our economy comes roaring back and we're keeping our most vulnerable as protected as possible. Troisièmement, et je vais passer la parole d'ici très peu à Chrystia Freeland pour en parler plus longuement, mais par rapport à la relance et la reprise économique, on a vu des bonnes nouvelles. D'abord, le Canada a déjà repris 100% des emplois qu'on avait perdus depuis le début de la pandémie. On voit beaucoup d'entreprises, beaucoup de croissance reprendre à travers l'économie, mais on reconnaît qu'il y a encore des secteurs qui sont durement touchés. On voit par exemple l'industrie du tourisme, les restaurateurs, particulièrement dans les centres-villes, qui ont encore énormément de défis avec les implications de la COVID-19. Et on a fait une promesse très directe aux Canadiens qu'on allait être là pour les appuyer aussi longtemps que nécessaire. mais qu'on allait aussi être là pour assurer une relance économique forte et rapide. Et donc, je suis très, très content de pouvoir passer la parole maintenant à la ministre Freeland pour partager les éléments, les prochaines étapes de notre plan pour lutter contre la COVID-19 et appuyer les Canadiens tout en facilitant une reprise économique rapide et forte. Alors, je suis très content maintenant. I'm very happy now to pass the podium over to Chrystia Freeland. Chrystia.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Prime Minister. And thank you, Prime Minister, for that great news about vaccines for children. That is really great news for children, for families, for schools, and for our economy. Quand la crise de la COVID a frappé, notre gouvernement a rapidement lancé divers programmes généraux afin d'amortir le plus grand choc économique du pays depuis la Grande Dépression. L'objectif était simple, prévenir autant que possible les séquelles économiques et aider les travailleurs et les employeurs à travers la pandémie et les restrictions qu'elle a amenées. D'un bout à l'autre du pays, ces programmes ont donné une bouffée d'oxygène aux travailleurs et aux entreprises. Ils ont protégé des millions d'emplois et aidé des centaines de milliers d'entreprises canadiennes à poursuivre leur activité au plus creux de la pandémie. Our emergency support measures were always designed to be temporary, to get us through the crisis. Thankfully, as the Prime Minister has just pointed out, we're now in a new phase, one that is very different from the darkest days in our fight against COVID. We have recovered lost jobs, vaccination rates are high, and will get higher as it becomes possible to vaccinate more of our children. Borders are reopening, and the fourth wave appears to be coming under control in many parts of the country. Last month, as the Prime Minister has just reminded us, we reached our goal, as promised in last year's throne speech, of creating 1 million jobs. Canada has now recovered 100% of the jobs lost in the depth of the COVID recession. And compare that to the United States, which has only recovered 78%. Children are back in school. We have accomplished all of this together while sticking to health restrictions that have saved lives. And by that essential measure, Canada is second only to Japan in the G7. So there are many reasons to be optimistic about what we've already achieved. Our economy is rebounding, and we are winning the fight against COVID. However, it's also true that the recovery is uneven and that the health measures that are saving lives continue to restrict some economic activity. That is why today we are announcing what we very much hope and believe is the final pivot in delivering the support needed to ensure a robust recovery. The existing income and business support programs will end on October 23rd, as previously announced. We are moving from the very broad-based support that was appropriate at the height of our lockdowns to more targeted measures that will provide help where it is needed while prudently managing government finances. And now I'll outline the new programs that we intend to put in place as of October 24th. Premièrement, je vais vous parler du soutien que nous allons continuer d'offrir pour les emplois et les entreprises. Nous continuerons de porter une attention constante aux emplois et à la croissance. C'est pourquoi nous allons prolonger le programme d'embauche pour la relance du Canada jusqu'à 7 mai 2022 à un taux de 50%. Ainsi, les entreprises pourront continuer de réembaucher des travailleurs et de créer les emplois supplémentaires dont nous avons encore besoin. De plus, nous sommes conscients que certaines entreprises sont incapables de répondre toutes leurs activités en raison des restrictions sanitaires nécessaires qui sont encore en place. C'est pour cette raison que nous proposons 2 nouveaux vols de soutien ciblés pour la relance. Le premier vol est le programme de relance pour le tourisme et l'accueil offrira du soutien aux employeurs par l'intermédiaire des programmes de subvention salariale et d'aide au loyer. On parle ici des hôteliers, des restaurateurs et des agences de voyage qui font encore face à des restrictions visant la santé publique et les voyages. Le taux de subvention accordé à ce groupe d'entreprises très ciblé commencera à 40% pour les demandeurs ayant subi une perte de revenus de 40%. Le taux augmentera en fonction de la perte de revenus jusqu'à concurrence de 75%. The second stream, the hardest hit business recovery program, will be available to employers who can show they have faced deep and enduring losses and will provide support through the wage and rent subsidy programs. The subsidy rate for this group will start at 10% for applicants with a 50% revenue loss, increasing to a maximum 50% subsidy for those with a 75% revenue loss. Support through both of these new streams will be available from October 24th to May 7th of next year. From March 13th to May 7th, the support will decrease by half as we prepare for a full recovery and the end of these extraordinary pandemic-related benefits. The eligibility for these programs will be a 2-key system. One key will consider whether the employer has faced a significant revenue loss over the course of 12 months of the pandemic. The second key is revenue loss in the current month. And finally, we are creating a new lockdown support program that will be available in case the pandemic requires further local lockdowns in any part of the country. For those businesses that face temporary local lockdowns, we will make the wage and rent subsidy available up to the maximum amount for the duration of the local lockdown. We're putting this insurance policy in place now to ensure that provinces, territories, and municipalities can continue to make the right public health choices, knowing that support will be there for workers and businesses. Et nous allons aussi tenir notre promesse électorale d'offrir du soutien aux artistes et aux techniciens. Deuxièmement, nous faisons quelques ajustements au programme de soutien aux revenus créé dans le contexte de la pandémie pour qu'il concorde avec la nouvelle phase de la relance. Comme c'est le cas pour les mesures de soutien aux entreprises, nous passons de programmes généraux à du soutien plus ciblé. We're still fighting the fourth wave of this pandemic, and it is particularly virulent in some parts of the country. Temporary local lockdowns are still a possibility in the months to come. We want Canadians to know that we intend now to put in place a measure that would snap into action immediately to support workers in the event of a new local lockdown. As the CRB has done up until now, this new benefit, the Canada Worker Lockdown Benefit, would provide $300 a week to workers who are subject to a lockdown, including those who are ineligible for employment insurance. We also know that Canadians across the country may need continued support from the Canada Sickness Benefit and the Canada Caregiving Benefit. We all need to protect ourselves and one another by staying home when we're sick. And our children, many of whom still cannot be vaccinated, are particularly vulnerable, which means parents may need to be able to stay home to take care of them. So, we intend to extend eligibility for both of these benefits until May 7th of next year, and will increase the maximum duration of each benefit by 2 additional weeks. We estimate the total cost of these measures from October 24th through to May 7th of next year will be $7.4 billion. That compares to the $289 billion we have spent on income and business supports since the start of the pandemic. Notre gouvernement comprend le fier héritage du Canada pour ce qui est sa gestion financière prudente et l'importance de préserver cette tradition de rigueur. Fighting COVID required unprecedented government spending in Canada and around the world. Canadians supported that unprecedented spending because they understood that it was not only the compassionate thing to do, it was the economically smart thing to do. And they understood that providing support to businesses and workers during lockdowns allowed us all to do the right thing together and to save lives. Aujourd'hui, au moment où l'économie se rétablit et des emplois sont créés, où nous nous faisons vacciner et les restrictions sont levées prudemment dans nos communautés et à nos frontières, il est temps d'adapter nos mesures de soutien aux revenus et aux entreprises à ces circonstances plus heureuses. Today, our support needs to be more narrow, more targeted, and less expensive. And we need to look forward to the day, now not too far off, when we will be able to bring it to an end entirely. Our unrelenting objective is to protect and create jobs and to drive economic growth. It is to ensure the strongest possible recovery for everyone. Merci.